Let's go. My name's Gheesling. Welcome to the next episode of Star Citizen. Where we last left off, there's been a lot of comments, a lot of theories, a lot of ideas, and ideas as well. I figured, hey, let's take out a big bulky ship known as the Starfarer. Let's go ahead and take him over to Daymar and give him the old college try. This is by far the largest ship that we messed up the quantum drive on. But nonetheless, I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. I read all the comments. There's a little bit of a little back and forth, if you will. People are saying, hey, Dan, I don't need to see 3 minutes of you sliding into the DMs going to Daymar. And on the flip side, people are like, oh, Dan, I like seeing the banter and the actual process of landing somewhere. Well, so it's like we're divided amongst two utilities, right? Do you want gas or you want oil? Well, Dan, it's the same thing. You want gas or you want electric? Well, Dan, that's also the same thing. Not really. But that being said, I would like to go to... I've got a little plan for this episode. Well, Dan, what kind of plan are you talking about? Where I would like to go. I'd like to go back to Shubs. I'm a big fan of Shubs. Dan, what are you talking about? Shubs. That's what I'm talking about. Shubs right there. Set that as our destination. Well, Dan, you could just use the on-map onboarding. We could. But it wouldn't work as well, right? Because it's a little convoluted. And there's some interesting comments. People say, hey, you know, it looks cool, but it's not that practical to use. I would say that I agree nearly 1,000% with you as an individual that made that statement. It looks cool, right, having the nav map in front of you. But at the same time, it's not really that usable. We got to make it a little bit easier for the user. So let's go ahead. We're going to slide over to OM6, and hopefully that gets us a little bit closer. So, Dan, you said you have a plan for this episode. I always have a plan, but this plan in particular, as we're breaking the 14 frame barrier mark, I want to take the Starfarer to Shubs. And since we have some very valuable cargo in the Starfarer, we're going to destroy any ship that is remotely close to Shubs. Is Shubs on the other side? I will say this ship is very volatile in terms of its steering. Well, Dan, maybe if you just located Shubs on the surface, you'd be okay. So I think it's kind of near... I don't know why that's the only one that's showing up. I will say, in trying to record some EPs here, this is probably, I'd say, there was a new patch, right? I don't know if it has to do with I'm sure it has to do with the age of the server, meaning how many individuals have been on here. But since the patch, the recent little, I guess, little tweak or patch, I mean, this is what you're seeing what we're dealing with here. It is what it is. And that's why I got the counter in the upper right-hand corner. Well, Dan, if you have the counter in the upper right-hand corner, it slows it down. That's all hearsay. It's 1,000%. What's that say? Bountiful harvest. We're trying to get to Shubs. Dan, don't you know where Shubs is by now? One would think, but I prefer just to set our destination. And it looked like it was over here for a second. It flashed, but it's not showing up on the map. Well, Dan, this is cringe. It's how. I don't need to see. What do you want me to do? You want me to just snap my fingers and make the nav map work like a legend? See, look. Now you see them. All right, so we double click. Now does everything show up on our real life map? Doesn't appear to work like that. All I got's a bunch of ohm wreckers on the outside. And this ship is... There we go. Alright, so now we're starting to get some stuff. What is that? Tamden Emergency Shelter? West Wolf Point? Bountiful Harvest? Alright, so Shubs is on the other side of the moon. Well, Dan, that took you long enough to figure it out. Well, excuse me. What do you want to call me, Captain Solo? Well, spoilers. Alright, dial in. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the Starfarer down to the surface. Number one, see if it can handle the heat of Shubs. Number two, any individuals that want to dial up and try to take over our precious cargo in the Starfarer, they're going to have to deal with 4 levels size 5, I believe, laser blasters. Well, Dan, are you pausing the recording? You pausing the game? Nah. I just think we're on the opposite of a butter server. There's Shubs. It's a good 350 away. All right, good. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's go full steam ahead. Let's see what the max speed on this bad boy is. So we're at right now. We're at a cool. That's Gabe calling. Right now we're at a cool 400, approaching the 500. At least give me the 4 digits. I can live with 4 digits. Everything else is like a Rascal Flatts concert, sold out and overpriced. Dan, have you ever been to a Rascal Flatts concert? No, I couldn't even tell you one of their songs. All right, so we're gonna go lock into the DMs here. Hopefully we can get coupled. All right, we're coupled up. All right, good. So here's the other thing I wanted to show you guys. Well, we've got some time to coast in. So when I go to, so now whenever there's a new patch, you got to rebind, right? So I go to Flight EVA, Advanced Custom Controls, Control Profile, December 17th dualies, right? So this is what I was trying to explain to everyone as we're coasting into the DMs. So you bind everything like this way, okay? Keyboard to keyboard, mouse to mouse, joystick to joystick or joystick 1. And then when you actually go to joystick 1, you can't scroll all the way down. So this is why, Dan, I don't understand why you don't always use dualies, because it's not set up to do that. I'm sure there is some life hack that you can pull off to go in the .ini file and dial it in. Unfortunately, that's a little bit above my pay grade, unless someone can map it out in a 1, 2, 3 step. But with that being said, so that's, I just wanted to just show you guys why I don't always use dualies. It's not because I don't prefer them. It's not because I don't think we go from like a rank 3 pilot to the best pilot in the world when we use the dualies. But however, you got to make a decision, right? I can rebind everything on the left and burn another 90. Well, Dan, it shouldn't take that long. Right, it shouldn't. But at the same time, I want to be able to bind it so I can save those 90. Those 90 go a long way. Anyways, it looks like our FPS is improving as we're taking a look at some space dust. In the meantime, I'm going to try to play both sides of the fence here. Some people say, hey, Dan, we don't need to see you coast in. All right, don't see me coast in. We'll be back. Welcome back. We just had a nice landing. As you can tell, we took a little bounce. Just calm ourselves here a little bit, gather our footings. Maybe want to kill the engines for a second, just get our bearings back. Well, Dan, looks like old habits die fast. Then I don't think that's how the saying went. But nonetheless, for some odd reason, our dualies seem to be working again. But let's go ahead. We're gonna go full speed ahead. We're close to Shubs. We're within 63. Well, Dan, here's a question: if you're gonna just coast into the DMs, wait, what's up? Where's our throttle at? Excuse me. Throttle at 100%. How is the top end speed on this 100? It's literally going to take half a millennium to get there. Hang on, dial in. Alright, so here we are, mano a mano with the beast itself, a sandstorm. We got some Shubs about 2,900 meters away. Dan, is this your most challenging endeavor yet? Driving a space semi-truck and trying to land it. Your dualies are working, so oh, pull up. I'm just thinking is the heaviest beast. It doesn't fly like your typical Gladius, your freelancer. Not even the Caterpillar. Look at that. Let's go. We're gonna require some of the finest piloting you've ever seen in the verse. Well, Dan, clearly we're on the wrong channel. Well, don't let that distract you. Are we above it? No, we still got a little bit of ways to go, right? It's going to be on the other side of this ridge. We're going to have to carefully slide. There it is, up on the precipice. There she is, home sweet home. Depending on who you talk to and what their nature of the product is. Look at that. Well, Dan, would be a better shot if it wasn't at nighttime. I don't disagree with that. We came in with a goal. And what was that goal? To clear every landing plant. Dead pirate Roberts. Dread, excuse me. How do we target these individuals? Oh, there's someone right there. It looks like I can't tell by the silhouette in the upper right-hand corner, but unfortunately for them, there's much too much valuable cargo on board here. So we're gonna have to cut the engines and utterly destroy everything there. Let's go. Dan, you keep whiffing. Does that look like it's whiffing to me? It does. We got to get a little bit closer. One might have thought that the range on these level 6 blasters might be a little bit... Oh, they just disabled our guns, didn't they? We're going to do a little rising up. Maybe if we rise up and destroy. Back up a little bit. Back. Dan, this is... I didn't know this was be quite the challenge. Well, it is. Give me that. Give me my guns back. Thank you. Maybe they put it just out of range, or do they protect it? That's 100% locked on. Try to give it some momentum. It's protected. That's a falsity. It shouldn't have that sort of protection. I don't know what ship that is. Skirt. Actually, not a bad landing. Dan, you're not landed yet. Look at it, though. It's a nighttime landing. For the rich and nameless. Dan, that makes no sense. Tell me something I don't know. Alright, so let's set her back and down. Nice and easy. Dan, why don't you just do the old trick? Not a bad idea. Let's go into the front DMs here. And just power her down. When in doubt, use the old trick. Don't forget where you learned it from. Dan, where did you learn it from? I don't know, probably the comments. Open the exterior, please. Unlock everything. Open all exterior. Oh, power's off, Dan. I would like to remove myself from said parcel. There should be, I mean, okay, let's just talk about some things that we can improve upon here. Well, Dan, there's a lot of things. Well, let's talk about, how about uniformity in exiting a seat, right? Well, Dan, why don't you just hit Alt-F? Alt, that doesn't work. Alt, left Alt, and F doesn't work. So, is it telling us we need to get out on this side? That doesn't make any sense. But see, we just randomly clicked a circle. So what does that mean for the price of frames in the Starfarer? Dan, you just landed one of the largest pilotable ships in Shubin, and not you didn't even put a scratch on it. How do you feel about that? Well, I would like to thank our piloting academy that taught us. I would like to know what's going on here. Thank you. I believe I jumped, sir. Kind sir. There we go. A little leg work. Dial in. Now that we are here. Oh, that was a rover we were shooting at. It all makes sense now. Every last bit of it. Well, Dan, you said your mission was to come here. You said your mission was to come here and destroy everything in your path. Well, what happens if there's nothing in our path? That's a great question. We look into the great beyond and wonder, what are we doing here? What are we trying to accomplish? And more importantly, whose rover is that? Yo, that's a great shot right here. Look at that. Mindful landing. The red planet Jupiter off in the distance, Dan. That's not Jupiter. So what did you actually do on this episode? I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to steal someone's rover. Hack into it. Break in their insurance policy. Alright, now the question is, can we jump this rover onto the Starfarer? Dan, now you're talking. I'd like flight ready.
Welcome to system check.
Alright, now, based on how we parked this thing, we got a shot at it. I think we can. We would need to hit some sort of ramp. Is there a ramp for us to jump on it? I believe so. Dan, you must be seeing something I'm not. I do have to say, probably the rover, even more so than the space bikes, are probably my favorite just because of its implementation, right? So the rover works and drives as intended. Space bikes got a long way to go. But the rover, on the other hand... No. We were just talking you up. Can we get some rovage? We're stuck. Nah. Maybe the average pilot would be stuck. Not chief engineer of rovage. Well, Dan, why don't you just see if you can slide it into the DMs? 100% it better fit. Oh, boy. Alright, dial in, Dan. No. Well, Dan, maybe if you move the Starfarer and didn't have all these opportunities here, we actually can't fit it in there. Well, I mean, I guess we could, but in its technicality, it's not actually fitting. It looks like it is, though. Look at this. There should be a little boost, in my opinion. Like a little vertical boost would make this rover a special place to be. Alright, so do we answer the age-old question? Can you fit a rover into a Starfarer? I think we did. Well, then why don't you lower it and see if you can actually do it? Alright, yeah. You issued the challenge? Who am I to deny the challenge? Look, I'm just trying to find a uniformity of getting out of seats here. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to exit. We're going to go into the Starfarer. And we're gonna complete the task. The task will be complete. Alright, we're back in this. We're gonna carefully raise up just a little bit without damaging the rover. There she is. We're gonna slide to the left just a little bit. Just a little bit of slide. Now, question is, do we want to fit on this pad? I think so. So let's carefully bring the nose around. It's not, the nose is not letting me nose it. We're just doing some strafage. Alright, so from a strafe standpoint. There we go. Now we're in this. Okay. Careful. This is how it should have been done in the first place, Dan. Well, look. Look at the nature of the spin. You gotta just carefully dial it. Now, strafe to the left a little bit. Dan, this should be easy to land. It's like driving a hotel, okay? When's the last time you saw a hotel on the road besides when it was moving down from Mississauga to Kingston? You've never seen it. Alright, so now let's go vertical view so we can make sure that we're perfectly landed. Spin to the left just a little bit. Okay, now slide to the left. Pull up a little. This is going to be a perfect 10-point landing. Okay, now. The moment we've all been waiting for. Are you actually going to do it again, Dan? Are you going to cut the power? What do you mean am I going to cut the power? I thought that's the only way. It's been done. Okay, dial in. Now, I do want to turn the power back on so we have some lighting abilities. Some lighting abilities here, sir. Just turn the power. We don't need to be flight ready. Just turn the power on. Now, carefully. I would like to stand up. And since for those of you who may not have seen the interior of a Starfarer, let me acquiesce you the pleasure of doing so. Look at that, the shiny gold. This time around, all the lights are on because we left the power on. Last time we cut the lights. What? We've got vaulting? Since when is there vaulting? Let's go. Door, please. Looks like we got a little bit ahead of ourselves. Let's go ahead and turn these back on. Alright, so back in the saddle after just going to hit the DM button, we went over to the front of the cockpit, unlocked the back door, opened the exterior, and look, we're back where we were always meant to be. Now, the question is, where did our rover go? We were trying to slide the rover in here, and what, it just disappears on us? It explodes? That doesn't seem very persistent. We've been duped. Now here's the question, if we go spawn in the rover, is our Starfarer gonna go away? Dan, are you sure you know where the rover? Positive. We saw it. Alright, so we're gonna dial back in over and try to pull up a rover here. Well, there's a serious amount of rip to this challenge. Why? When we spawned the URZA rover, our Starfarer mysteriously disappeared. So what does that mean, Dan? Is the challenge failed, or is it just merely delayed for another episode? You know, I don't have an answer for you. We tried stuffing in. The attempt was there. We attempted to stuff the URZA rover inside of a Starfarer. Dan, I can't disagree with you. The attempt was there. What about the fact that it wasn't acquiesced, that the attempt failed? I guess that just means one thing. Self-destruct. There's no eject or self-destruct on this? I don't know. That's a great question. Let's see. There should be some kind of eject. Well, Dan, you don't have everything flight ready. Engage systems, please. Dan, why would there be an eject on a rover? That's a great question. The other question you'd ask of, why would our Starfarer despawn when we subbed in a rover? Well, Dan, I guess some questions are meant to be unanswered, and unanswered they will stay. Thank you guys so much for joining us on our attempt in stuffing the URZA rover inside of the Starfarer. If you guys enjoyed it, clicking the like button helps out a great deal. If you have another idea for a challenge, let me know in the comments below. Probably something we'll continue to do, hopefully on a more successful basis. But nonetheless, thanks for taking time out of your day to watch the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.